Today, the iView thin edge of the privacy wedge. Hello again, it's Martin North from Digital Finance Analytics. Welcome to this post covering finance and problem news with a distinctively Australian flavour. Well, Michael Cowling, the Associate Professor of Information and Communication Technology at CQUniversity Australia, penned an important article in the conversation today. And he raises some important questions for us to consider as the ABC turns on account login and personalisation services. The ABC says that for iView, you can now continue watching where you left off across all devices logged into your ABC account, create a watch list to keep track of your favourite shows, access your viewing history, create a profile for members of your household, and receive personalised recommendations based on what you watch. And for the Listen app, the radio app, it says you can continue listening where you left off across all devices logged into your ABC account, create a playlist to listen to programs uninterrupted, use favourites to keep tracks of shows and podcasts, access your listings history, choose your news with a broader offering of local and topical news content, and use the call-in and text-in feature to conveniently engage with a range of ABC programs. All sounds quite sensible, really, until you realise what's at stake here. He wrote, last week, the ABC announced it will begin to track the viewing habits of all users of its iView streaming platform from March the 15th. This will be done by making users create an account and log in to watch shows and, quote, benefit from the next stage of personalised services such as program recommendations and watch lists. The change was initially planned for the middle of last year, but was delayed after heavy criticism from privacy experts and others over the proposed arrangements for sharing and recording data. One point of contention was the ABC's plans to share viewer data with Facebook and Google. The ABC said significant work has been undertaken to provide effective privacy controls during this delay, but nevertheless, critics maintain the new provisions still involve sharing user data without full consent. For years, we've known organisations such as Google and Facebook are collecting data on every search and social media post we make and every website we visit. Often the argument for collecting this data is similar to that used by the ABC, that collecting it provides for more personalised recommendations and a better user experience. However, tech companies also make billions using this data to sell personalised ads and sometimes by selling the actual data. They're not the only ones keeping tabs on us. Loyalty cards such as Woolworths Everyday Rewards or Coles Flybuys does the same thing, tracking your purchases, adding them to a database and mining them for information about your life. If you buy 10 cans of cat food a fortnight, you probably have 2 cats. If you suddenly start buying 15, you've probably acquired a third. Nappies, baby formula and baby food reveals how many kids we have, how old they are, and how they're growing up. And the ratio of Tim Tams to bread and milk can give clues as to your level of disposable income. Despite this, millions of Australians scan those cards every day. It's hard to know, he said, if they fully weighed the pros and cons or just never really thought about it. So how much should we care about this? And how much do we care? He said, when I put these questions to my students in an undergraduate class on information technology and society, they mostly respond that if they're doing nothing wrong, then they have no reason to care if major corporations know what they eat for breakfast. Older, mature-age students tend to feel differently, often raising concerns about what the data is going to be used for, both now and potentially in the future. Older students may have had negative experiences with data, such as having a home loan disallowed over a credit report, while younger people may not look so far ahead. Indeed, organisations like Electronic Frontiers Australia have argued this type of data collection can be a slippery slope to profiling and bias, with organisations using this to choose who should receive particular services or assistance. The ever-growing collection of data comes at the same time as government moves to centralise their databases under the banner of MyGov, tying all government services to Medicare or tax file numbers. We're still a long way from a dystopian situation like China's social credit system, where all our behaviour feeds into a rating system that determines our access to services and housing, but these moves could make one easier to implement in the future. Which brings us back to the ABC and its plan to require every user to create a profile and logins to its service. The main question here is the same one to ask when using a Flybuys card or creating a new social media account. Does the convenience of sharing this data with the ABC, in this case, in terms of personal recommendations and watch lists, and indeed the ability to access the service at all, balance what we think our data will ultimately be used for? And when we ask this question, it helps to think in very broad terms. While in this case we're just talking about viewing history and watch time, it's not too dissimilar to cat food and nappies when you think about it. Significant amounts of information could be inferred from our viewing habits, everything from our political leanings to our attention span. What that can be used for is, well, anyone's guess. That's not to say we shouldn't create an account, but rather that we need to go in with our eyes wide open. Think about what iView means to you, what data might be shared, and how it might be used. And then he said you can decide if you really love Bluey all that much after all. Now, if you're buying your home in Sydney's contentious market, you don't need to stand alone. This is the time you need to have Edwin Almeida from Ribbon Property Consultants standing alongside you. Buying a property is both challenging and adversarial. The vendor has a professional on their side. Emotions run high, price discovery and price transparency are hard to find, and then there's the wasted time and financial investments that you make. Edwin understands your needs, so why not engage a licensed professional to stand alongside you? With RPC, you know you have experience, knowledge, and master negotiators looking after your best interests. So shoot Ribbon an email at info@ribbonproperty.com.au, and if you use the promo code DFAWTW/Martin, you can get a 10% discount offer. I'm Martin North from Digital Finance Analytics. Many thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.